It's music fans, movie fans, movies. Yeah, movies. Welcome. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel talking about Bruce Springsteen yet again, folks. I was going to let this go. I was done covering this because I thought it was over, but it's never over until the mainstream media stops putting out content about it. So I have to counter the content. So here I am doing what I do in real time for a few real people just like you and just like me. Actually, the headline is hysterical because we've had a month of nonstop Bruce Springsteen hype. Of course, his appearances on Colbert, his appearances, I guess, on Foreign Soil not too long ago, saying some interesting things, which in a different time might be considered treasonous. I don't know. I don't really, it's free speech. Go ahead, say what you want to say. But here's the headline, which is on most classic rock websites this morning. Morris Springsteen on the big screen. The boss open to more movies about his life. Can you imagine just the headline itself, how narcissistic that is? It's like, yeah, I'd like to see them do more movies about my life. I mean, we only covered this era during Nebraska, right? How I'm such a rebel. I'm pushing back against the record label and what people actually want to hear. I've always thought that musicians who try to reinvent themselves, I mean, there have been several instances, and I can't think of any that come to mind right at this moment, but where, the artist gave the middle finger to their listeners, their audience, because they were fed up with the music that they were doing. I think John Mellencamp, when he came out with Pop Singer, is another example of that. Yeah, I'm being really successful here, so let's push back against the success and tell people that I really don't like what I'm doing. It's kind of like mocking your own fans, right? Springsteen, as a live performer, if you go back to that live box set he came out with years ago, I think the late 80s or so, I was working at a classic rock station and we were playing a lot of music from that live box set. It's really impressive. And this is before all of the politics started to take shape. And he is an amazing live performer, at least in those days. I don't know if the same can be said more recently, but if you could separate him from the politics, right? He's not a bad live performer. He's an epic live performer in the old days. Although I would never want to go to a concert for 4 hours. It's just me. Even in my younger days, I'd be like, all right, I'm out of here. I've seen a couple of hours of this, maybe 2.5 hours. I mean, biology starts to kick in at a certain point. You need a restroom, you need a bed after a while. If you've been drinking the entire time, you're probably going to need both as you're watching. Maybe I could take an intermission and come back, go out to the car, take a nap and come back if they'll let me back in. The point of all of this, and there is a point to this, is that the media tends to celebrate certain people more than other people. Like if they did a biopic on Ted Nugent, which would be pretty crazy, right? Ted Nugent swinging from vines, wearing loincloths. Just the guy's had an interesting life, right? Being an avid hunter, conservationalist in the old sense of the term, I think it would be a pretty interesting documentary about the life and times of Ted Nugent. I don't think he's touched alcohol all that much, although someone told me that he does drink red wine on occasion. I don't know. He's lived a fairly clean life in that regard. He's not getting DUIs like Springsteen famously got a DUI a couple of years ago after that infamous Super Bowl commercial that he did where he's telling everybody he's in the middle. He's not in the middle, okay? when you support oligarchs for president, and I know Bernie Sanders is out there pushing back against oligarchy. Stop the oligarchy. These guys are all part of the oligarchy. All right. How many houses does he have? Springsteen worth $1 billion, people, or pretty close to it. And maybe he's trying to make more money by doing more movies. But we really need more Springsteen biopics and movies about his life? Scott Cooper told Variety, who is Scott Cooper? I guess he's involved with Deliver Me From this movie. I mean, Deliver Me From Nowhere. He says that another Springsteen movie isn't out of the realm of possibility. Goodness gracious. I suppose if you can make 4 Beatles movies, you can make a couple of Bruce Springsteen movies, he said. A reference to Sam Mendes's upcoming project, The Beatles, a 4-film cinematic event due out in April of 2028. There's so many chapters in Bruce's life, in all seriousness, that are quite right for cinematic treatment, Cooper said. That's something, quite honestly, that Bruce and I have discussed. I think he really loves this film. He loved the experience. Well, the Washington Post didn't like it that much, and they are very Bruce friendly. So they would have given him, like 2 thumbs up, even if the movie sucked, and they said it didn't live up to their expectations. He added, this again is Scott Cooper, I think he feels incredibly comfortable with someone telling a very painful chapter in his life. Oh my gosh, the guy is a billionaire. Stop it. You'd have to ask him. But I think he's ready for more. But we're not. We're not ready for more. We don't need any more of this. The endless coverage, hogging up the classic rock news every single day, when there are up-and-coming bands that are releasing music that most of this industry doesn't care about because they're stuck. They're stuck in the past. And this is an old guy talking, all right? An older guy. And why not cover some new talent that's out there, okay? Somebody who is like blazing a trail, who should be covered and who should displace these old geezers like Neil Young and Bruce Springsteen, and even people I like who've been around maybe a little bit too long. It's like, just stop it already. We need to move on to the next phase of life, But nope, we're going to do another Bruce Springsteen movie. So you can look forward to that. Because if the Beatles can get 4, Bruce can get 2. No, the Beatles are the greatest rock band in history, right? According to me. Maybe not. Some people will say the Stones or Zeppelin or whatever. But if you want to argue for the Beatles, fine. The Beatles were all interesting characters too. You have 4 of them. So that's maybe why you get 4 films, because there's 4 of them and they're interesting and they inspired pretty much everyone who came after them. So that's why you do a lot of Beatles coverage. As far as Springsteen, I think 1 movie is enough, right? I mean, but who knows? Who knows? I mean, maybe this is going to be a box office blockbuster and I'm completely off base here, because there are Springsteen fans who are interested in this story of, Nebraska and how he gave the record label the middle finger and just pushed back against the establishment. Too bad he doesn't push back against the establishment now, huh? Kind of seems like he is part of the establishment, if you haven't noticed that, which makes this not really fit together all that well. A guy who's a billionaire, who's out of touch now with the working class, who he supposedly wrote music for and about in the old days. But yeah, that's why this doesn't work for me. If he had stuck to his guns and, still catered to that kind of audience, now how much money do you need to go see Bruce Springsteen, huh? Yeah, the working class are going to see like country music concerts now, because country music, although somewhat off base today, is still closer to those people. And if you go down to like West Texas, you'll hear some real red dirt music. That's much closer to the working class. And you know what? People, they have 20 or 30 bucks they can spend on a concert. They'll buy a ticket. But, hey, waiting for Ticketmaster to release tickets to, American Express Gold Card, Platinum Card members as a way to get to see Springsteen, that seems a little detached, all right, from the working class. I'm just venting here, okay, folks? I have no interest in going to see Springsteen. In fact, I don't go see a lot of concerts, even the ones I would go see, because two tickets for me are just ridiculous. I need to buy groceries. I need to put gas in the car. Anyway, just some random thoughts about all this. Let's hope that there are no more Springsteen movies, but if it's up to the media, there'll be like five more. And this one I thought was going to be enough, but apparently, if you're worshiping Bruce, it's just never enough. And that's my video. So thanks for watching. Don't forget, folks, buy me a coffee. It's a thing. Patreon, YouTube memberships, PJ Rock super chats. If you like the content here, and if you're a fellow curmudgeon and you love Jesus, right? How can you love Jesus and be a curmudgeon? Because I'm not perfect. I'm just forgiven, right? That's the whole point of following Jesus. So just, update the file, okay? Stop thinking that people who follow Jesus are all perfect and smiling all the time, because that's not how this works, folks. I wish it did in some regards. It would be good to just be cured of all your problems, but it's not how it works. Because if we were cured, then we wouldn't really need a savior now, would we? All right? So there you go.